Hey guys, it's towniesimbuilds here, and welcome back to another bite-sized speed build. Now this is probably going to be the very first time I'm going to lie to you guys, because by definition this is not a mini speed build by any means. So if you guys have been watching this series for quite a while, normally my speed builds are more or less tiny houses. They do fall into the tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. But lo and behold, here we are. I am breaking my own rules, you guys. And I am here in the world of Selvadorada. Or actually, I think it's just Selvadorada. But anyways, it is the world that comes with the Jungle Adventures pack. And I'm actually here for a very special reason. And for the very first time, I am using stuff from the Eco Lifestyle pack. And I know I wasn't planning on getting it. I wasn't planning on getting it for quite a long time. But honestly, you guys, I was staring at the catalog. I was looking at all of these objects. And I had this vision. I had this vision for a concrete jungle house. So that is what I called it. It is the name in the video title itself and also of the lot. And yeah, I really wanted to create this very interesting sort of industrial, sort of brutalist style build in the jungle, which is quite a juxtaposition. So if you guys are familiar with the concrete jungle term, normally it's used to describe areas that are very much a city. So places like New York City, London, Hong Kong perhaps, places where there are pretty much skyscrapers everywhere, full of people, full of streets, full of cars. I think you guys pretty much get the drift. But yeah, I thought I would take that concept and put a little bit of my own spin on this. And here we are. We are in the middle of a jungle creating a very modern industrial style build as a rental lot. Now, in terms of rental lots, I think this is only the second or third one I've ever done. The very first one I did was actually way back last year, and it was actually a build request. Originally, I think there was a need for a lake house in the world of Granite Falls, but alas, I didn't have that pack, but I did create something using some objects from City Living, Snowy Escape, and also Get Together. So take this as a sort of updated version of that. On top of that, I was also really inspired. I've been watching a lot of sim builders here on YouTube, and I do have a lot of simmers that I do follow regularly. One of them is Sims with Sarah. She is an amazing builder. She does really great voiceovers as well, talking about her process. And she did this very recent build, I believe, in the world of 𝗧𝗛𝗏, and she was very daring. She chose the volcano lot itself, but overall, she did a very interesting, I believe it was either a tropical style build or some kind of pirate inspired hideout. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry if I'm getting the build wrong, but that was one of the inspirations. And another channel I looked at was Jax TV. Again, another great builder. He does a lot of specialized builds, mostly pulling from TV and movies. But most recently, he actually redesigned a home for the infamous Don Lothario. Yes, the womanizer himself. The build was in the base game world of Oasis Springs, and it was a very beautiful, sort of contemporary style build in the desert world itself. I don't really know how to describe the style, but he did use a lot of content from the Eco Lifestyle pack. It was absolutely gorgeous. And when I saw him using those objects, I thought, you know what, I think this is time to try this pack out. I didn't give it a chance before, but at this point, I finally had a vision for this build and roughly how I was going to use the Eco Lifestyle objects as well. Anyways, we are super far into the build at this point, but like I said, I was going for something very contemporary, industrial, a little bit brutalist, and bringing in a mixture of very man-made materials and also very natural materials as well. So at some point in the video, I did swap out the exterior for the base game cement tiles, kind of creating those nice slabs on the walls themselves. I do use a lot of the iron and wood fixtures as well, pulling those columns from Eco Lifestyle. I do use the fence pieces from City Living, and also surprisingly enough, a lot of base game. I do think the windows themselves are base game, and I did replace the front door with the option from Get Together, which surprisingly also has a lot of great industrial options as well. Now the roof itself is fairly plain. Originally I was going to do some sort of a skylight, I guess I would say, but when I was looking at a lot of my references, a lot of them were very flat, very super flat blocky roofs. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go in sync with that. I'm going to mimic that style. and that is the end result. Now, surprisingly enough, one of the features I was really excited for were actually these very blocky geometric balconies. And for some reason, they kept coming up with a lot of these modern houses, and I did my best to recreate them in The Sims 4. So unfortunately, you will see a lot of these little sort of empty rooms that I will fill in later, but I do think they have the overall shape that the reference images did have. Now overall, there are 3 balconies in total. There are 2, I believe, that are connected to the bedrooms themselves, and they also feature some skill building objects. There is also a larger one towards the left side, and that is overlooking the pool area. So it's going to be a very nice, relaxing place for your Sims to kind of hang out, maybe tell some stories. But anyways, like I said, we are still in the jungle itself. So definitely wanted that nice overhanging foliage from the Jungle Adventures pack, and just putting them kind of haphazardly around the building. So they do hang from planter boxes, but I do think they capture the jungle essence. And going inside now, I am scoping out the space. And this floor plan kind of had a little bit of an evolution. I wasn't really sure, especially how I was going to manage the left side, because that is obviously the area leading out to the pool itself. There is a little bit of a stairway area that I transform, but the main area itself will be the kitchen and dining room space. Just going back out, I am adding some drop ceiling lights from the Eco Lifestyle pack. But yes, we are fleshing out the kitchen area. Now going into this, I did want to use the Jungle Adventures counters. I do think they fit really well with the theme. The colors were on point, kind of a darker brown, little bits of white, cream, and black as well. And then just going in and using a lot of fixtures, surprisingly from base game. I think I used the fridge, sink, and also the stove all from base game. Now, originally with this room, yeah, my mind was not fully made up, you guys. I tried doing an island in this room. I tried doing sort of an island bar stool setup, if that makes sense. But unfortunately, the living room space was just not available. There was just not enough space left. So this is how I did it. A little bit more open. I'm using some of those really nice dividers from the Eco Lifestyle pack, introducing some vines and ivy, just some greenery to the space. And then here is the very narrow living room itself. So I do use the sofa and armchair and the end table from the Eco Lifestyle pack. And eventually I do add in a City Living TV and also a console from City Living as well. So at least we can watch some movies, we can play video games, some cool activities for the family or friends that are traveling here. Of course, I do also add in a lot more clutter from Eco Lifestyle. Honestly, you guys, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was discovering all of these new items, and I really couldn't help it. I was just using them all at once. So we do have the full dining set also from Eco Lifestyle. And honoring the light room itself, honoring the greenhouse type of area, I did add in a few plants and also some cream-colored curtains as well, just to complete the space. So should be a pretty nice place to dine, but we will have an outdoor option for your Sims as well. Going back out, I did have the idea to create some sort of grill station, and I will let you guys know that this will be shifted. I really didn't have a concrete idea for how all these different patio areas were going to situate themselves. So I was like, okay, we have a fireplace, we have sort of a fire pit station, we have a pool area, we have lounge chairs, we have a dining space. But yeah, there were just so many ideas going around because I really wanted to create a very intricate place for your Sims to relax and have a really nice vacation. Sort of like a resort, but unfortunately we don't have that luxury in The Sims, especially if you are not playing with mods. But here we are, we're just going in and adding some details to the lounge space itself. So I do use a lot of these very contemporary end tables, and then I also clutter them with objects from the Eco Lifestyle pack and also from the Jungle Adventures pack as well. Moving back in, I do finally resolve the hallway area, and at some point I decided, you know what, we're just going to do this very tiny reading nook. Maybe it's not very conventional, maybe it's not really situated in the best spot, but I did kind of situate the City Living bookcase against the wall. I do use the vertical garden from the Eco Lifestyle pack as well, and these very cozy sort of leather pseudo suede chairs from the City Living pack, if you will. I really don't know what fabric they're supposed to be, but they did match the theme in this room and sort of the overall vibe. And then going over here, just completing the walk-in space. So I figured this black sort of sofa or bench from the City Living pack was great, just to take off your shoes. And of course, I use the Eco Lifestyle end table there with the base game object with the shoes as well. And eventually going in and adding some clutter on the wall, again with more base game objects. Yeah, the base game objects were pretty much my solution. I don't have the dream home decorator, so I do use a lot of the clothing and shoe rack object from base game, but I do think they worked fairly well. Anyways, we are circling back to the outdoor dining space, and like I said, I do resituate the grill itself, so I do create another sort of sunken in area in the platform itself, kind of mirroring the fireplace area in the front. Of course, I do use a lot more of the Eco Lifestyle pack once more, going for a different dining room set, but I think it fit fairly nicely, and then using this wonderful bench from the Get Together pack, which I really love. The swatches are a little bit more challenging to use because they are a little bit more eccentric, but I do love how they worked here, and I honestly really love these very abstract stone lamps from the City Living pack as well. Going in, I was really thrilled with the clutter. I found this sort of sparkling water and glass set, I believe it's called, or at least I think it's what it's supposed to represent. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I did reintroduce that object back there. And then finally, going back inside, I did have the idea of doing a very small partial bathroom. And unfortunately, you guys, I don't know if this is completely functional. I'm gonna have to potentially shimmy some objects around, but I thought this was very convenient for your Sims. But anyways, we are going upstairs to the hallway now. So this is the landing area of the staircase, just filling in the space with a little bit more clutter, more of those City Living lights, and a base game end table. I do very stealthily cover the top of the Get Together door, which I loved. It was absolutely perfect for this build, and I don't ever use it. But I did want to clean up that space just a little bit. A little bit of a cheating method, but I do think it works. And just popping in more of the City Living wall lights there, and also some doors to the bedrooms themselves. Now going in, I did want an accent wall of sorts, so I do choose these very large wood panels from the Eco Lifestyle pack, and I opt for this very beautiful canopy bed from the City Living pack as well. So I think for this bedroom, this is pretty much the primary bedroom of the rental space. More likely than not, I would assume a couple would use this suite, which is pretty sleek. It's pretty spacious. It is also very cozy with a lot of the same decor from downstairs. And I do add in a dresser to the left, replacing the nightstand, and just adding in a little bit more depth, a little bit more texture on the wall with these really interesting slot designs from the Eco Lifestyle pack. I'm pretty much using the Eco Lifestyle pack everywhere, if you guys can see. So I do use the plant armchair and also the full-length mirror once more. But I do use this very nice base game piece as well, just pulling in with the jungle theme with some textiles, and then finishing off this room with a little clothing area. There's not really a true closet, if you will. There is a dresser, but I do use the base game trunk that I love, and also the hanging clothes object as well. Now going to the balconies, like I said, these are sort of skill building areas. So I do pull in some more ivy. I do add in a little chair from Eco Lifestyle and also the base game easel. So hopefully this does give your Sims something to do. And going back in, we are finishing off the bathrooms themselves. Now, if you know me, you guys, I'm normally not too keen on very extensive bathroom designs. But sticking with the theme, we do have the concrete slabs once more, and I did actually pull the tiles from the outdoor area, so it's kind of a more cohesive element. I do like that the space was a little bit more dingy and kind of grungy, if you will, but I do use little bits of decor from the Eco Lifestyle pack as well, just keeping it nice and clean and simple and pretty much homogeneous on each side. Going in now, we are working on the second bedroom. And honestly, I thought this space could be really nice. I figured that if you are coming with a family, this is great if you have 2 children, or if you're coming with a group of friends. These could obviously be roommates, buddies that just want to sleep in separate areas. So really, this could be very versatile. You can have a lot of different setups with your Sims household. Hopefully there is enough space. But yeah, this room is a little bit different. I did use an accent table from Eco Lifestyle, and there was a very strange swatch. There was a little weird burst of color, I think, within the objects themselves. So I thought, hey, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to flip this object around and shove it against the wall. but it was a nice little accent piece that I will put some books on. And here we are. Using the books, I did use the updated base game swatches on this book item, which are wonderful. I really like having new selections there. Just completing the look with a base game plant and also the hand sculpture. And then I do go back and use the base game palm plant as well. I was finding that I was using way too much eco lifestyle, so I did want to have a little bit more variety with some of the decorations in here. Going out, just making sure that the lighting is ample here in the backyard space, finishing off the balcony there. And then going back down to the outdoor dining space, I do use these nice corner pieces from base game. So I did want to add just subtle touches of foliage to complete the space. And then we do have one final skill building object, which is the base game telescope, which I thought nestled pretty nicely there, using the rug and the 2 plant sets from the Eco Lifestyle pack, which again fit the space fairly well. The final space for the balconies is of course the main balcony overlooking the pool. And I really didn't have anything in mind for this, but I really wanted to use a lot of these sort of recycled, reupholstered armchairs and sofas, if you will. So it's more or less just a nice cozy place to relax and maybe tell some stories. And finally, finishing the lot itself, a lot of these giant boulders from base game. And this was honestly the most challenging part, you guys. I probably spent, I would say, an hour doing this. Especially if you do not have the tool mod, it is very challenging to situate these large rocks. But I try to surround the lot itself, make it feel very mountainous and very natural to the landscape itself, and just filling in a lot of those little tiny gaps with several of the Debug Jungle Adventures objects. So very overgrown, lots of tropical foliage everywhere, and hopefully it is believable enough. So yeah, I did my best, you guys, trying to create a little bit of elevation with a lot of these kind of rocky cliff ledges, if you can even call them that. Alright guys, and that is a wrap on the concrete jungle house in the world of Selvadorada. Now, even though this was a little bit outside of the series parameters, if you guys do enjoy larger builds like this one and seeing the speed build come to life, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments as well. Just like always, this is still a no CC, no mod limited pack build, and will be available on the Sims 4 gallery as well. I'll leave you guys with the final cinematic shots along with the final lot specs of the build itself. As always, this has been 𝗪𝗛𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗚 signing off. Thank you so much for watching, guys.